Let it all go. This man's going to sort it out for you. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together. Give me some love. Give me some noise. Give me some love. Ladies and gentlemen, just say the fabulous Stevie D.
Alright, how you doing? Just got back from the holidays. Went to Spain. Thought I'd go to Europe while we're still fucking welcome there. Weather was lovely. Didn't want to get too tanned though, just in case they didn't let me back in. Although I have heard if you do get in, you get a free house and a lifetime on benefits, according to the Daily Mail. Journey was really easy. Bish, bosh, bash, straight through customs at Malaga Airport. So I'm looking forward to next year, where I get to stand in a non-EU queue, clutching a blue passport for just as long as it takes to give Gibraltar back to the Spanish. Weather was lovely though. Food was awesome. People were friendly. Unlike the UK, where the weather's shit, the food is terrible, and the people are fucking angry. We had a lovely time though. I've got some friends out in Spain, some Spanish friends. It's funny, the first thing they asked me was, "Are you okay?" Like they'd heard I was stuck in some abusive relationship. Which pretty much sums the UK up right now, doesn't it? But it was great. You know what the best thing about my holiday was? It wasn't the beach. It wasn't the weather. It wasn't the food. It was not seeing any fucking news for 16 days. It was like being in remission for a serious mental health condition. Which again, pretty much sums up living in the UK, doesn't it, eh? Of course, Bozo the Clown was Prime Minister before I went away. But I thought to myself, what's the worst could happen? Oh. Nothing says democracy like an unelected Prime Minister going to an hereditary monarch appointed by God and suspending the democratically elected chamber of the people. Some people have called it a coup, but it's not a fucking coup. A coup is armed men in tanks assaulting the government, not a Down syndrome Wookiee and a haunted Lord Snooty doll in a pinstripe suit. Of course, the Queen agreed to suspend Parliament. She's shitting little gold bricks right now, isn't she? Not only are the EU threatening to make her reveal her offshore tax havens, but the press have been attacking her grandchildren as eco-terrorists for flying on a fucking plane and have done their best to out her son Andrew as a nonce. No wonder Charlie Boy's keeping a low profile at the moment. He sees his chances of becoming king evaporating like the Tory party majority. They've only been back a week, and it's already like Lord of the Flies staged by the Eton Drama Society. Once again, it's come down to deal or no deal. Except unlike the TV show, every box just has a steaming great shit in it. Let's get one thing straight. Leaving the EU is a fucking bad idea. But leaving the EU without some kind of trade deal in place is like abandoning the family home at 4 o'clock on a winter's morning in your pants. Do you know what? I'm beginning to realise that terrible Theresa, the thrift shop Thatcher, was the best they had to offer. So Bozo's already a record breaker. First of all, he lost his majority live on air when one of his MPs crossed the floor, which is a bit like your bride sucking off the vicar at the altar. Then he went on to lose his first 6 votes, getting beaten worse than a rent boy at a Dolphin Square party. He's lost control, like an incontinent stuck on the Northern Line. And what do you do when you lose your majority? You sack another 21 of your own MPs. That'd be like Gareth Southgate sacking half his football team, then wondering why he got beaten by the Seychelles. If that was Jeremy Corbyn, they'd have called him fucking Stalin, wouldn't they? That's not a political mastermind. That's a rabid dog eating his own bollocks. And look at the people he sacked. He sacked Funeral Phil, the ex-Chancellor of the Exchequer. A man so boring he makes John Major look like Eddie Izzard. He sacked Winston Churchill's grandson. which caused several Daily Mail readers to suffer an instant embolism. So there's some good news. He sacked Ken Clarke, the longest serving Tory MP. Ken was one of Maggie Thatcher's right-hand men. He knows where all the rent boys are buried. I'm surprised Thatcher's not risen from the grave and turned Bozo into a fucking bath mat for that. Deary me. Makes you laugh, doesn't it, eh? It's not, and then he's made Jacob Rees-Mogg leader of the House of Commons, which is like putting the Titanic captain of the Titanic in charge of the Coast Guard. Of course, Mogg came under fire for lounging on the front bench like Dorian Gray on Laudanum. But I'm surprised he hasn't barricaded himself in Westminster until we leave. Eton tie bandanaed around his head, his naked chest smeared with the blood of British car workers until we're out of the EU. It's like the last days in a compound of a religious cult, isn't it? Half the cult members think we're about to be magicked away to a kingdom where England always win the World Cup. And the other half have seen the cult leaders loading the automatic rifles and dosing the Kool-Aid. Tribesmen in Afghanistan are sending us thoughts and prayers. The mother of all parliaments looks like a crack whore in a Wetherspoons car park. Of course, the final humiliation was when the House of Lords have passed a bill that should stop a no-deal Brexit. And that's where we're at. Common sense has prevailed in a place where half the people think it's still all right to shoot your groundskeepers. Of course, Bozo said he'd rather be dead in a ditch than seek another extension. Well, I tell you what, I've got a shovel and a big garden. 3 years this has been going on for. 3 years. World War I only went on for 4 fucking years, and at least it produced some brilliant poetry, and I think it did less damage to the nation's psyche. I used to wonder how they got millions of men to stand up and walk into German machine guns, and now I fucking know. The British people will do absolutely anything if they're told to do it by a chinless wonder with a posh accent. Bozo's plans for a general election have been scuppered unless he calls a vote of no confidence in himself. Of course, they criticise the opposition for not seizing the opportunity, just like you'd criticise an Iraqi market trader for not seizing a suicide bomber's vest. But to be honest with you, I think a general election would be as conclusive as a Poundland pregnancy test kit. As the nation has undergone an identity crisis that makes Jack the Ripper look like a social services outreach worker. See, that's the trouble with democracy. Everyone gets a fucking vote, no matter how stupid they are. A retired hairdresser from Barnsley who gets her political views from the Sun and Piers Morgan has the same democratic influence as I fucking do. How is that fair? Don't get me wrong. I think everyone should have a vote, but if you can prove you're following it, like have a basic grasp of geopolitical economics, you should get 2 votes. I haven't quite worked out the details yet. Maybe like put a riddle on the voting slip, or multiple choice. A, Marxists believe that the means of production should be owned by the workers. Or B, Marxists are fans of Harpo, Groucho and Chico. But it's fucking amazing, isn't it? A country that spends its time watching Bake Off, ballroom dancing and 22 millionaires kicking a fucking sack around is suddenly chock full of absolute experts in geopolitical economics. But we voted out. Why can't they just sort it out? Says Barry from Bolton, a man who finds changing his broadband supplier complicated. Of course, the government are worried that if we don't deliver Brexit, there'll be French-style protests, which will be like French-style mayonnaise. Thick, white, and if left outdoors will go bad very quickly. I've tried to have some empathy for them, the disaffected masses, but they continue to vote for the very people that cause our fucking misery. These same people think that a government that spent the last 10 years starving kids, killing pensioners, and allowing the disabled to backstroke in their own piss, once they're unshackled from the EU, is going to turn into Mary fucking Poppins. I give up. I really have given up. I don't want to sound callous, but Barnsley, Sunderland, Bolton, all those places, let them eat Brexit. I'll tell you what, it's going to taste a lot like fucking cat food. Cheers.
Of Stevie D. Right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have a 10-minute break so you can go over wires, get a fag, have a drink, give it up for the action we've seen so far.